Good evening, Belize, and welcome to XTV's news broadcast for Monday, February 23, 2026. Make it the headlines tonight. BCWJ may resume protests. Cartel retaliation in Mexico triggered wave of concerned calls to Belize Embassy. Man and woman killed on river trip in Unitedville, while 4 were injured in Belize City shooting at active basketball court. And 2 successes in police investigations. We take a first break and return with the news in detail.
Clean and maintain your yard the best way with Honda trimmers and lawn mowers. Honda Lawn and Garden Equipment, available at Benquip. Equipment, parts, service.
At Atlantic Bank, your convenience is our priority. Our contact center is designed to enhance your banking experience. With a wide range of customer service options, you save time and effort. You can easily call in to block or unblock your debit and credit cards, perform account inquiries, and access detailed card information. Whether you need assistance with online banking, merchant support, or general inquiries, our team is ready to help. For added convenience, if all operators are busy, you can leave your number and an operator will return your call as soon as possible to ensure you receive the support you need. Depending on your transaction type, we may need to verify your identity through a set of security questions. And remember, Atlantic Bank will never request your username or password for Atlantic Online via phone call, text, or email, ensuring your personal information remains safe and secure. Our support team is available Monday to Friday from 8 a.m. to 6 p.m. in both English and Spanish. Simply dial 223-12.
Only $135. That's right, as low as $45 per person. Perfect for small families, couples, or close friends. Smart Trio, 3 lines, 1 smart choice. Sign up now and you could win a Trio getaway to San Pedro for 3. Visit us at www.smart-bz.com for more information.
From idea to install, Brothers Habet, all your building needs under one roof.
Well, there was a pier here and it was about to collapse, and we managed to rehabilitate it and to come up to where it is now, where it looks very solid, presentable, and safety for the tourists that come here. And sometimes we have a tendency to forget that Monkey River is also a big tourist destination. Just today, for example, we have seen about 200 tourists coming here. And from the report that I received from the village council is that that will be the average amount of tourists visiting the island. But sometimes when the cruise ship will visit Harvest Key, there is an increase of tourists, which means we need to do more investment into Monkey River, simply because there is no signage where we can take a picture here. There is no information center, and at the same time we have a hallmark when you look at the beautiful Monkey River, where we have some of the unique holla monkeys in Belize.
Hola, soy el doctor Rosado, pediatra. Hoy quiero hablar con los padres sobre rotavirus y cómo podemos proteger a nuestros hijos. El rotavirus es un virus que causa diarrea severa y vómitos, especialmente en niños pequeños. Esto puede provocar deshidratación grave y requerir hasta hospitalización si no se trata a tiempo. La buena noticia es que diarrea por rotavirus se puede prevenir con vacunas. La vacuna es segura, efectiva y ahora está disponible en su centro de salud más cercana. Se administra en gotas por vía oral a los 2, 4 y 6 meses de edad. Proteja a su hijo contra la diarrea severa. Visite su clínica más cercana.
Welcome back with your news. I am Drea Espinosa. The Belize Communications Workers for Justice may very likely resume their protests following a meeting today with Belize Telemedia Limited representatives about interest on their severance payments. At their last meeting, the BTL reps notified that over 560 former workers would be paid severance despite the company believing they were barred from seeking the payment under a 6-year stipulation of the Limitation Act. The former workers requested interest payment of 6%, but spokesperson Emily Turner now says it appears the BTL board is not acting in good faith.
The interest rate had been paid for the employees that were within 6 years at 6%. The people that went for litigation, they also got 6%. And when BTL came, they said their board had approved no interest rate. So we said, well, in good faith, let's give you an opportunity to go back and get an interest rate from the board. And so they presented that to us today. We came down from our position of 6% to give them a percentage. Money has changes drastically between 1994 and 2025. We did our calculations on that. We ran the models, and basically that money would have appreciated by 71%. And we are not saying 71%. We're saying let's use a standard rate that the courts give. We don't feel like at this point, the mandate that the board has given to the BTL executive team that came to meet with us, that the board is not being fair with us. And so these discussions are no longer being done in good faith. And so we are trying to keep all of us out of court, but it doesn't seem like that's going to go that way. And we're trying to make sure that we don't have to take the streets again, but that is the direction we will have to take. We will have to continue protesting because we're not making much leeway.
Chaos erupted across at least 15 Mexican states due to cartel retaliation for the army's killing of drug lord El Mencho Sunday morning in western Mexican state Jalisco. He was the leader of the powerful and violent Jalisco New Generation cartel with ties to Latin America, Europe, and even Africa. Based on information available up to 8 Sunday night in Jalisco alone, 76 vehicles were burned, 18 banks were torched, and 69 stores were damaged by arson or looting. The unrest across the nation prompted precautionary measures in other parts of the country. Events on a base in Zopapan, Jalisco, and 4 others were seriously injured. A civilian was also reportedly injured in that attack. One Belizean family is expressing deep gratitude and breathing a huge sigh of relief after safely escaping from Cancun, which was also one of the impacted states. The family, who lives in northern Belize, was spending their final vacation day in Cancun, Quintana Roo, when they began noticing that something was wrong. First, an OXXO store was closed and the gas station they went to had stopped selling fuel. They then became aware of the heavier than usual police and military presence on the roadways. On their way back to Belize, they saw a burned vehicle. Once safely back in Belize, they wrote on social media, quote, I hadn't felt such a relief in a while, like crossing the border and watching that beautiful flag swaying gracefully, dancing with the wind. Of course, it was scary driving past that burnt vehicle, felt like I was in an episode of The Walking Dead. Thankfully, we weren't caught up in any of the incidents, end quote. Notably, other Belizeans were also stuck in Mexico. Among them was content creator Negrito Ceso, who reported having to return to his hotel to shelter in place. A mother and father from San Pedro who were interviewed by Mexican media were caught in Guadalajara and witnessed some of the blockades and vehicle burning as it unfolded. The government of Belize issued an unprecedented travel advisory to all Belizeans living in Mexico or transiting through the county to exercise a high degree of caution. Non-essential travel was discouraged from multiple states. Officials at the Belize Embassy in Mexico City were busy on Sunday responding to calls from concerned Belizeans as a result of the retaliatory cartel violence which sparked terror and forced residents indoors while others were left. Belize's ambassador to Mexico, His Excellency Oscar Arnold, said there are no reports of Belizeans being injured, but understandably the level of concern was high.
We don't have any report of any Belizeans who were affected adversely or injured in any of this. There were a lot of students who were concerned, students in Anahuac, in Merida, in other parts of Mexico. And we've been fielding a lot of phone calls and just assuring them that the areas where they are very safe. We had two different groups of individuals who traveled from Belize City to Merida yesterday. They did not encounter any problem on the highway, and they're safe in Merida, going about and doing the activities that they're there for. We had a few people here in Mexico City who were on vacation. They traveled back this morning. They've reported to me that they've crossed the border there in Chetumal and Corozal without any issues. They didn't see a heightened sense of security at the international airport here in Mexico City, and that it's business as usual. For students, we will be sending out an email to everyone that we have on our mailing list, just advising them. The information that we have is that they can go to school, they can go to their classes, they can do their shopping and go back home. My advice, personally, I would say if you don't need to be on the highways deep within Mexico, don't do so. Traveling to Chetumal is safe. I've gotten reports from Tulum and Cancun this morning. The tourist areas have additional security, and people are going about enjoying their vacations as per normal.
While indications this morning suggest that Mexican authorities have brought the retaliatory cartel violence under control, Belize's ambassador to Mexico, His Excellency Oscar Arnold, is advising Belizean car dealers in the United States to wait a few more days before traveling back through Mexico.
My advice to car dealers would be, if you've not crossed into the Mexican border as yet and you're in the US and you're planning to come now, to wait a few days more. Things have been, my advice was to monitor the local news media to see if there's any flare-up. My advice was to monitor the local news media to see if there's any flare-ups. Merida is one of the safest cities in all of Mexico, as you well know, and the National Guard are all on the federal highways trying to make sure that whatever the violence, it's contained to the areas in these strongholds, and they're closing the noose. They've surrounded quite a few of the areas where they know, or their intelligence is telling them that there are members, and they're slowly closing the noose and either eliminating or capturing the individuals who are creating the issues.
In police news, there has been another double murder in the Cayo district, this time in Unitedville, where a man and a woman were fatally shot during a river trip. The incident occurred before 6 p.m. Saturday. The victims were identified as 23-year-old Jerrington Ingram and 20-year-old Miguela Vanegas. Both succumbed at the scene. ASP Stacy Smith said no motive has been identified thus far.
At this time, no motive or suspects have been identified in this ongoing investigation. Preliminary investigation suggests that the victims may have returned from swimming at a nearby creek when they were accosted. The area has been canvassed with a view to identifying potential witnesses and also to obtaining video footage, which we hope would be of assistance to the investigation. This is one of those cases where we are hoping that persons who were in the area will come forward and share what it is that they may have seen, and that may help us to advance the investigation.
Ingram was the neighbor of Unitedville Chairman Kent Gabriel, who spoke of him and the need to curb the recent uptick in violence in the community.
Jerry is my neighbor, and I have nothing to say about Jerry. I saw Jerry every day, and especially he used to work down by the store, and yeah, and always a quiet person. But that's all I know about Jerry, you know, from the time, because he grew up in the community. But besides that, I don't know anything else about Jerry. You know?
So you wouldn't know if he was like a troublemaker or anything like that. Was he in the village?
Well, a few times, but not like say, give them kind of trouble if you get one death like that, no? You know, it's like young people, and sometimes they have the fuss and fight, you know, amongst each other in the community, but nothing really serious, or so that I think he should have got something like that, no? He barely talk to anybody, always a quiet person.
No, as the chairman of the village, what message do you send to the residents of this area who may have concerns regarding their security?
Well, to be honest, it's not something too nice for the community, because for the past month, you know, from the time I get in as chairperson, fortunately, things like this they happen, but it's not that we don't have police in the community. We do have police, we have patrols regularly, but I think it's something. It's hard for me to say that. I'd like to see something get done to it. I'd like to see that we get over this gun violence in our community, and you know, because our community is a bit peaceful. But lately, you know, we sort of got there are kind of bad records and bad things happening in our community. And I mean, this is worse, especially for the Lower Dover people and that have a resort. That, you know, it is bad for them. And I would like to see something get really done, no?
And we'll have more news after the break.
Nando's Wholesale is your market leader in Belize's wholesale industry when it comes to high-quality products at the most reasonable and competitive prices. With over 40 years in the wholesale business, Nando's Wholesale embraces the partnership of the hotel industry in Belize by providing world-renowned brands in wines, seasonings, condiments, and cleaners in industrial sizes, as well as small and large kitchen appliances and equipment. Nando's also takes pride in providing one of the quietest and most durable air conditioning systems in Belize with technical support and spare parts. Nando's Wholesale. Professional, reliable, effective, and prompt. Nando's Wholesale always delivers. Visit us at www.nandos.bz or send an email to nandos@nandos.bz. Or, even better yet, give us a call today at 222-500 or 280-8080 to speak to one of our sales representatives today.
For decades, BEL has powered Belize's growth and progress, lighting homes, energizing industries, and fueling national development. But in a world reshaped by extreme weather patterns, digital transformation, and evolving customer needs, the future of energy demands a new approach. The future of energy is now, and it's not just about new technology, it's about people and how we use, manage, and store power smarter. BEL is leading the transformation, blending modern advancements with the wisdom of sustainable energy practices. Integrating technologies will redefine how Belize produces and uses energy. With distributed generation and smart grid technologies, customers are becoming power partners. energy is no longer a one-way street. BEL is making key investments that will reinforce the grid to make this a reality, ensuring energy security for generations. At BEL, we are more than an energy provider. We work to safeguard Belize's energy future, which will have demand response programs, where customers will be able to shift use during peak hours to take advantage of the new time of use or off-peak rate structures, customer energy portals, real-time insights and tools to track usage and manage energy smarter, smart metering, advanced metering infrastructure, faster, safer service and actionable energy insights, distributed generation, integrating rooftop solar, microgrids and battery storage for two-way power flows into the national grid. Together, we are bringing you a brighter tomorrow.
To access the declaration form online, please visit the following websites. Simply enter your item in the CDS web kiosk to instantly see the landed cost, duties, taxes, and fees. Postage rates can be checked on your rate sheets. Share the landed cost with your customer and finalize the sale in minutes. Once the sale is confirmed, the system generates your declaration identification number, your key to a smooth and fast drop-off. And if you don't have internet access, you can always visit any of our post offices for assistance. Bring your unsealed package and declaration ID to any Belize Postal Service location. Our clerks will verify your items, seal your package, and prepare your declaration. Belize Postal Service, connecting your business to the world.
Our Belize City is growing because of continued investment. From rehabilitated streets to expanding neighborhoods, significant investments are improving how our city functions and how our communities live. In the last 2 years alone, more than 250 streets have been rehabilitated, representing almost $34 million invested directly in physical infrastructure that improves access and quality of life. At the same time, the city continues to expand. Developments such as the Holy Emmanuel area, also known as Gungulung, reflect increased demand for land and housing as Belize City expands in a more sustainable and resilient way. These planned developments support safer communities and long-term sustainability, contributing to rising property values across the city. Under the Town's Property Evaluation Act, property values are required to be reviewed every 5 years. The last valuation adjustment was done in 2013. This adjustment simply brings property values closer to today's market reality, while the tax rate itself remains unchanged. Let's break it down. For a vacant property valued at $25,000, we charged an annual 2% rate, which works out to a payment of $500. Under the new assessment, the property value has appreciated by 40%, making the property now worth $35,000. Therefore, the new amount to be paid will be 2% of $35,000, which works out to $700. For an occupied property valued at $25,000, we charge an annual 10% rate, which works out to $2,500. Under the new assessment, the property's value has appreciated by 18%, making the property now worth $29,500. Therefore, the new amount to be paid will be 10% of $29,500, which works out to $2,950. To support property owners, your Belize City Council is encouraging residents to take advantage of the ongoing property tax prepayment incentives. property owners receive 15% off in January, 10% off in February, and 5% in March. And senior citizens receive a 35% discount year-round. Remember, this adjustment represents an appreciation in your property's worth, not a change in tax rates, ensuring continued investment in your city while providing valuable data for informing investors, municipal bondholders, and individual credit assessments. And we want residents to know the law provides a clear mechanism for review and appeal if needed. Those who believe their valuation does not fairly reflect their property have the right to engage the Belize City Valuation Appeals Board. Your Belize City Council remains committed to openness, accountability, and ensuring that growth is managed fairly.
He has been shot at in different parts of the city, at least on 2 other occasions. Reports are that all injuries were not life-threatening. ASP Stacey Smith gave an update on the investigation and shared that police may seek amendments to Staines' bail restrictions.
Police responded by transporting the injured individuals to hospital, and the operational efforts included the cordoning of the area with a view of apprehending the assailants. What we have learned so far, and I must say that the incident was captured on police surveillance camera, is that those 4 male persons, along with others, were on the bleachers in front of the basketball court when a male person emerged from behind the bleachers and went onto the court and fired several shots, which resulted in the aforementioned injuries. The surveillance camera and the footage therefrom is being meticulously scrutinized with a view of apprehending this assailant. I know that the conditions of his bail included that he ought not to be in certain places around certain time. However, certainly when that matter will be addressed, which I anticipate it will be at the High Court, it will certainly be for...
The drone by Corozal police led to the arrest of 2 men suspected to have been involved in a robbery at Western Gas Station in Chula Vista, Corozal Town, recently. The arrested individuals are 20-year-old Jair Rancharan and 37-year-old Armando Villanueva, both of Corozal Town. Here is ASP Stacey Smith.
This matter was reported to police, and police's response, including dispatching an investigative team at the scene of the incident with a view of reviewing the available footage. And it also included mobilizing a joint operational team, which was done with a view to cordoning the area and creating a dragnet. Based on the investigation and the use of drone, the police officers were able, some 1 hour after the incident, to apprehend these 2 male persons, Villanueva and Rancharan.
The use of the drone, are you able to say if that capability is widespread among the police department? I think there was an instance with the city.
Yes. We have, as Commissioner Rosado has stated on numerous occasions, the move of the department is to move towards a technologically sound department. We try as best to equip ourselves with the necessary technological skills and appliances that are able to assist us. We have secured quite a number, and those are what are being used. And as you indicated, they were helpful in last week's apprehension after a shooting incident. And the use of an eye in the sky provides more coverage than a person or a fleet of persons on the ground can.
The men were found in possession of a firearm and items believed to have been stolen at the gas station. The firearm is believed to have been stolen from...
And the scene was processed. Similarly, this incident was captured on police camera, and those footages are now being reviewed with a view to advancing the ongoing investigation. No motive has been established in this shooting.
Police have arrested a teenager in connection with the double murder on Valentine's Day Eve in Belmopan, where 20-year-old Calvert Webster and 21-year-old Zamar Zambo Alvarez were fatally shot. 19-year-old Jehan Flores was charged with 2 counts of murder. ASP Stacy Smith said that the investigation is ongoing.
As a consequence of the ongoing investigation into the double murder of Zamar Alvarez and Calvert Westby Jr., which occurred on Friday, 13 February 2026 in Belmopan City, police have formally arrested and charged 19-year-old Jehan Flores for 2 counts of murder. Yes, the investigation is ongoing. What I can say is that the arrested person is someone who was familiar with both of the deceased.
After the break, former Hope Creek chairman succumbs from burn injuries, and claim made of cancer patient dying as ambulance fails to get clearance to cross the border. Stay tuned.
Finally, a postpaid plan for 3 people. Introducing Smart Trio. Why pay for mobile service alone when you can share and save? Get unlimited national calls, texts, plus 100 gigabytes of shared data. And the best part? It's only $135. That's right, as low as $45 per person. Perfect for small families, couples, or close friends. Smart Trio. 3 lines, 1 smart choice. Sign up now and you could win a Trio.
Ya sea que necesites asistencia con la banca en línea, apoyo para comercios o consultas generales, nuestro equipo está listo para ayudarte. Para mayor comodidad, si todos los operadores están ocupados, puedes dejar tu número y un operador te devolverá la llamada lo antes posible para asegurarse de que recibas el apoyo que necesitas. Para mayor seguridad, es posible que necesitemos verificar tu identidad con un conjunto de preguntas sencillas. Recuerda, Atlantic Bank nunca solicitará tu nombre de tu usuario ni contraseña de Atlantic Online por llamada telefónica, mensaje de texto o correo electrónico, asegurando que tu información personal permanezca segura y protegida. Nuestro equipo de apoyo está disponible de lunes a viernes, de 8 a.m. a 6 p.m. en inglés y en español. Simplemente marca al 223-1212. Esta es la línea dedicada para nuestro centro de contacto. Atlantic Bank se compromete a brindarte un servicio excepcional y las herramientas que necesitas para administrar tus finanzas de manera conveniente y segura. Aprovecha al máximo nuestro servicio del centro de contacto.
Atlantic Bank, building the future together.
February is all about Honda. Get special pricing and discounts on all
Elroy Wade, a former chairman of Hope Creek Village, succumbed to severe burn injuries sustained last Thursday. According to a statement from the United Democratic Party, Wade was injured during an explosion caused by a malfunctioning butane gas system at his workplace, Gas Tumza, in Silkgrass Village. He sustained 60% injuries to his body. He passed away early Sunday morning while undergoing treatment. The UDP is at the western border with Guatemala. Reyes had been battling stage 4 kidney cancer. A couple of days ago, his family and friends had asked for the public's assistance to help pay for his medical bills as his condition had worsened and he needed hospitalization. However, it wasn't mentioned at which hospital he was receiving treatment. Upon the news of his death, it was alleged he was being transported via ambulance from Honduras. His family said he was being transported to spend his last moments with family in Independence. However, he was reported to have been suffering from seizures while nearing the western border where, allegedly, the ambulance was not given clearance to cross over. Dr. Melissa Diaz-Musa, the Director of Public Health and Wellness, indicated today that the ministry was not involved with the case. We also reached out to Immigration CEO Tanya Santos, and we are awaiting a response. At this point, it is not clear whether the healthcare professionals on board the ambulance sought to seek life-saving treatment at the nearest medical facility, considering there is a hospital in Melchor de Mencos. We are also awaiting word from Dr. Musa on any protocol for such medical cross-border travel via ambulance. Reyes was known for his love for football. The 501 Spartan Football Club issued a statement on Facebook following his passing, quote, "On behalf of the Spartan football team, we want to express our deepest condolences to the family of Nasser Slab Reyes, who was a former player of our team. Once a Spartan, always a Spartan. Rest easy, baller," end quote. In other news, an Orange Walk Town resident has been detained and his vehicle impounded as part of an investigation into an incident Friday evening that left 2 police officers injured. 54-year-old police constable Raul Huchim, attached to Yo Creek Village, and 30-year-old police constable Eduardo Perez of San Esteban were, along with national transport officers, conducting a checkpoint between Guinea Grass Village and Tower Hill Village when a black BMW without warning, when a driver of the police mobile 34-year-old Yasser Flores suddenly felt the steering wheel difficult to maneuver and heard a clanking sound. The vehicle then veered sharply to the left and ended in a drain, striking a cement culvert. Flores complained of pain to his right hand and left foot, while 26-year-old PC Akeem IDH says it is working to fill in low spots so that the road may remain passable by vehicular traffic. Motorists are further advised to be vigilant and exercise extreme caution when driving through the area and not to cross if the road is once again overtopped by flood waters. If this occurs, the MIDH says it may close this portion of the road and direct traffic through San Esteban. And with that, we've come to the end of our newscast. The repeats can be viewed on this station later tonight at 9 and again tomorrow at midday. Join us again tomorrow for another edition of the news. And remember, you can always catch up with the day's top stories on our YouTube channel and Facebook page under XTV Belize. And you can watch the evening news live on our XTV BHNI app. I am Drea Espinosa. Have a safe and enjoyable evening.